Merry Go Round is often interpreted as a song about BTS's military service, but I think that reading is too narrow. The military is part of the story, but it isn't the whole story. According to RM, Merry Go Round is the saddest song on Arirang. It is about being trapped in a cycle, riding a carousel that never stops. Military service may have been the first time in years that the members were forced to step off the ride and sit alone with their thoughts, but the music video suggests that the cycle itself began much earlier. What the MV repeatedly returns to is not the military, it is BTS' entire journey, from Wayang Yonhwa to the present day. Throughout the video, we see echoes of older eras, older symbols, and older stories. And these references are not there to continue a larger narrative. They function more like memories. And together, they form a portrait of the experiences, successes, burdens, and relationships that created the merry-go-round BTS find themselves riding today. Series service, I think it represents chapter one itself. The machine that created global fame and stadium tours and money and successes, all lying in pieces, and Jungkook walks away from it with no hesitation. For context, RM's story throughout the MV and the song is filled with questions. Jungkook's story is more about instinct and movement. When he says, I'll do what I want, people often interpret that as rebellion, but I don't think it is. I think it's just clarity. Throughout BTS's history, Jungkook has repeatedly entrusted major decisions to the group, not because he lacks independence, but because he believes in BTS and because he values the process more than the result. And the opening scene may therefore represent a choice. The carousel has stopped, and the obvious question becomes what now? And Jungkook's answer is simple. He walks forward. The strongest thing about V's scene is actually how little we see. Every other member is given a fairly elaborate visual environment. J-Hope has the horse-covered room, Jungkook has the collapsed carousel, Suga has the storm, but V is sitting quietly in a small room with a single horse behind him. And then we're gone. That brevity feels intentional. Throughout his solo era, V often appeared remarkably certain about what he wanted. Layover was not presented as a search for identity, but as an expression of one. He knew the sound that he wanted, the atmosphere that he wanted, and he pursued that. And perhaps that is why his room feels so simple. There is no storm to weather and no tomb to stand on, no collapsing carousel. Instead, there is only a glimpse. The scene almost suggests that there is more to V than what we are allowed to see at the moment. The camera passes without fully entering his world, leaving the impression that some parts of him remain private, even within the music video built around reflection and memory. Jimin is the only member following a carousel. The others are surrounded by horses, standing near horses, confronted by horses, but Jimin is moving towards one. In visual storytelling, when a character follows something, that object often represents a desire, a dream, a memory, or a truth that has not yet been reached. The horse is not something Jimin controls. It acts almost like a guide. This actually aligns surprisingly well with Jimin's creative predilection. Among the members, Jimin often occupies the position of a seeker. From lie to serendipity to phase to set me free, even with they don't know about us. His stories frequently revolve around self discovery, understanding himself, and searching for freedom. It feels natural that he would be the member following a symbol, trying to understand where it leads. And the answer he finds is not another destination, it is actually a person. This leads us to the horse and the curtain. The curtain scene may be the key to understanding the entire music video. Remember that we came from Jimin following the carousel, searching for where it leads him. He sees a curtain and with a silhouette of a carousel horse. But when the camera moves behind the curtain, the horse is revealed to be Jin. The metaphor immediately changes. The members are not simply trapped by fame, routine, success, or the industry. They are also bound to one another. The ride is not just the carousel, the ride is BTS itself. Jimin thinks he's facing the ride, but he's actually facing Jin. Just as when RM thinks that it's the ride that traps them, Jimin finds that it is actually them that's moving the carousel. BTS is not trapped by the ride alone. They're also bound to each other. And that makes it heavier, but also warmer. The thing that keeps them moving is not just fame, pressure, or the industry. It is the members themselves, their responsibility to the team, their love for each other, their inability to walk away from the shared dream. But why would Jimin be the one to recognize it then? RM has repeatedly described Jimin as the member everyone leans on, a sentiment that Suga has echoed. Jungkook has also said that when he needs advice or someone to talk to, he often turns to RM and Jimin. J-Hope has talked about how supported Jimin has been specifically during his solo eras. So within BTS, Jimin often functions as a bridge, a hub, the member who naturally connects people. That makes it fitting that Jimin is the one following the horse. If the horse represents the merry-go-round, then Jimin is literally pursuing the cycle RM says has trapped them. But when he finally reaches it, he doesn't find a machine. He finds Jin, a member, a person. The implication is that the thing that's holding BTS together was never the carousel itself. It was always the people riding it. And Jimin, as the group's emotional center, would be the member most likely to recognize it. Throughout the MV, the members briefly transform into horses. At first, this feels surreal, but when viewed alongside Jimin and Jin's curtain scene, the meaning becomes clearer. The horse becomes Jin, the members become horses. The director even described the curtain scene as resembling a mirror. The implication is that the horses are not separate from BTS. They are reflections of BTS. The members are not trapped by the carousel. They are the ones powering it. There are several questions in the door corridor scene. Many assume it's the order by which they were discharged, but RM is out of order. He enlisted and was discharged the same day as V. The other question is Suga. He is the last person in the hallway, but he has no door. Actually, it's kind of like very dark. I think it's less about the discharge and enlistment order as it was about their dispositions, conditions in psyche, and experiences. Let me elaborate. Throughout August D's career, there is a recurring image of conflict, anger, resentment, self criticism. From August D through D2 and even parts of D Day, the journey is often about confronting demons. Then came one of the most revealing things he has said when he appeared in IU's show. He no longer feels anger the way that he used to. He has let go of all the demons, forgiven people, including himself, and feels free. He even stated that he will most likely not make another album with this version of August D again because that August D is gone. And this is a remarkable statement from someone whose artistic identity was built around channeling anger. When you look at his merry-go-round scene through that lens, debris flying, storm imagery, and apparent chaos, yet he's not running. He's actually entering the room where the chaos was happening. He's not fighting, he's not escaping. There is no horse around. He's standing calmly, hands clasped in front of him. The storm exists, but it no longer controls him. And that feels very much like the final chapter of August D. Not the distraction of the storm, but the acceptance of it. And most analysis assume that a closed door means they are trapped, but a closed door can also mean the opposite. It can mean there is no need to keep moving. He is where he needs to be. If everyone else is moving through doors, passing thresholds, crossing stages, Suga stands beyond that process. RM is trickier because unlike Suga, RM has been very open about still being in the middle of something. The conversations from Festa, the documentary, Indigo, military letters all point to a person who has been questioning. One of the most important admissions RM has made in recent years is that he lost clarity after the success of Dynamite. He felt like he didn't know where BTS was going or where they are. Those are existential questions. That's why he was out of order because his struggle wasn't like everyone else. Jin, V, Jungkook, Jimin, and even Suga wanted to fulfill their service so that they can go back to performing in music. But RM was struggling with his very existence as an artist. So why the tomb? Well, it's in his lyrics. But in terms of imagery, it separates him from the others. The others are largely interacting with motion, horses, and movement. Arm's imagery is a marker of death and rebirth, maybe even legacy, a boundary between identities that's actually very consistent with Indigo. The entire project feels like someone documenting the death of one version of himself before another emerges. And let me jump to the final scene. I think that is why Arm joining the others in the final scene feels so important. Throughout most of the music video, Arm exists outside the merry-go-round and separate from everybody else. While the other members are shown navigating the cycle together, Arm's journey is more internal. His struggle is not simply about being away from the stage, it is about identity and creativity and purpose. That's why him joining the rest of the team in the end is very important. When he finally enters the room and joins the others, it feels like a reunion and also a resolution. After spending much of the video outside the cycle, he chooses to step back in. Not because all his questions have been answered, but because he has chosen the people waiting for him on the other side. This could also explain the gathering scene. At the beginning of the music video, Jungkook, V, Jimin are gathered in a room. Jin eventually joins them before V leaves. Many viewers have interpreted this as a reference to military leave. I think that's true, but it also feels incomplete. If the scene were simply depicting military breaks, Arm's absence would be difficult to explain, especially since he enlisted and was discharged alongside V. I think the scene is less concerned about chronology and more concerned with where the members were emotionally and mentally during this period of their lives. While all seven members entered military service, they did not enter it carrying the same questions or burdens. They were there at very different points in both their personal and professional journeys. Arm's struggle appears fundamentally different. As he has openly discussed in interviews, documentaries, festa conversations, and military letters, his questions extended beyond military service itself. He was wrestling with his artistic identity, his purpose, and even his understanding of BTS after Group's unprecedented success with Dynamite. His journey was not just about absence, it was actually about meaning. That may be why he is treated differently throughout the music video. J Hope's nod to Wayang Yonhwa. We see J Hope standing alone in a room covered with painted carousel horses, and the imagery immediately recalls Fake Love, where he was surrounded by broken carousel horses scattered across the floor. The connection goes even deeper. In BTS's Wayang Yonhwa storyline, J Hope's defining trauma begins at an amusement park where he was actually abandoned by his mother near a carousel. More than any other member, he has a long standing connection to this imagery. In Merry Go Round, the horses are no longer physical objects. They have become part of the walls themselves. The environment is built from them. It suggests that the experiences, the expectations, and memories associated with that cycle never truly disappeared. They just became part of the structure around him. Rather than advancing a story, the scene feels like a memory, a reminder of one of the many moments that contributed to the life BTS lives today. You Never Walk Alone. The music video opens with that, an unmistakable reference to Spring Day. RM even said that he thinks Merry Go Round could become the new Spring Day, which makes the callback feel intentional. I think it is also an important clue to the message of the entire music video. Just like what RM said, Merry Go Round can feel incredibly sad. The members are shown carrying different burdens, questioning different things, and moving through different stages of their lives. But underneath all that is a sense of hope. The members are not in the same place, but they're still together. Some are struggling, some have found peace, some are still searching for answers, yet they continue to choose one another. That is why Arm's final scene feels so important. After spending much of the video separated from the others and standing atop the tomb that symbolizes his personal struggle, he eventually joins the group. There's even a slight smile on his face. The message seems simple. No matter what questions he wrestles with, he ultimately chooses BTS. Panopticon. The final panopticon image is often interpreted as a present, a structure where everyone is constantly watched. And that interpretation is valid. BTS has spent over a decade living under extraordinary public scrutiny. But the ending introduces another possibility. The camera pulls back, and the carousel becomes a spaceship. The group appears among the stars, the Big Dipper, an image frequently associated with BTS 7 members. The panopticon remains, but it no longer feels like a cage. It feels controlled. By the end of the MV, we can see that they are so high up there that no one can see through the windows. Perhaps the message is not that BTS remains trapped under observation. Perhaps the message is that they have learned to decide what is visible and what remains hidden. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you learned something. But if there's anything that you want me to, if there is anything you want to add or any comment, leave them in the comment section below. As always, you can say whatever it is that you want to say. Just please do so respectfully. If there's any topic you want me to cover, let me know. Also, please visit our online magazine, Asian Entertainment and Culture.com, Asian Entertainment and Culture.com. We're trying to boost it so that we can help more Asian artists and Asian art find their audience in the West. We also want to highlight and raise awareness on Asian culture and Asian art. I also do, and if you want to contribute to that, to help us in building this online magazine, the QR code should be on your screen right now for you to donate, only if you want to. But your traffic is going to help us. Um, if you want short form, bite sized news type content, please follow me on TikTok, IG. I also do it on YouTube Shorts, Facebook, X. And if you want to be a member of my Patreon community or YouTube community, please do that. I do a live stream once a week, members only, and out over and above the public live stream that I do. And I also provide exclusive content. It does not go public. Thank you so much. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification button. But the more important thing is for you to share a link of our channel or our content. The more links there are out there, the better it is for the channel. The algorithm is going to pick us up and send us to more people. Thank you so much. Till next time.